Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 200th episode of my series where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So here we are at the big 200, and while there aren't any real big changes I have planned for the channel, I will be changing the instrumental you hear at the beginning and end of all my videos, as I still have a good number of beats I made over the years. So I've been attempting to swap them out every 50 episodes of the series. As any longtime viewer of the channel is probably aware, I divide up the uploads by decades, and for the time being I'm only covering 5 80s classics per set, since I have such an excessive amount of LPs from the 90s, 2000s, and 2010s. Even with me adding on to the collection frequently, and including some releases from 1990 and 1991. All of my vinyls from the earlier days of the genre still don't even make a dent when compared to the near endless amount of material in the decades that followed. But the pick we're closing out this set with is one of the very few Golden Age albums I managed to get relatively recently that without a doubt would have been in my initial selection if I had it at the time. That being LL Cool J's culture-shifting debut, Radio. This may actually be the earliest hip-hop LP I've covered on here, period, as the only other 1985 releases I currently have in the collection are Schoolie D's debut and Run DMC's King of Rock. I do have Run DMC's debut the year earlier, but I haven't talked about it on the channel. But their sophomore LP actually shares a number of similarities with LL Cool J's first album here. An even more recent addition to the record shelf from this legend was his insanely good sophomore album, Bigger and Deffer, where Cool J proved he wasn't about to be some one-hit wonder who made a splash with his debut, then either disappear completely or fall off the map of relevancy. On the contrary, LL sidestepped that infamous sophomore slump and arguably took a healthy step up from his introduction, providing us with some of his most iconic hit singles to date via I'm Bad and of course I Need Love, which still to this day very well may be my favorite track that this dude has to his name. Obviously due to Radio being the more impactful and culturally significant project, I had to push the review for BAD back a little bit, but rest assured it's definitely still on the docket for albums to discuss on the page. I have actually talked about one LL Cool J release previously on the channel, that being his 1990 powerhouse of an album that I can't call a comeback, Mama Said Knock You Out. And I'll leave a link for that video down in the description, since that upload delves a bit deeper into the second leg of Cool J's career, which was so extensive that it crossed over into the world of TV and movies. He had a pretty good amount of albums after Mama Said Knock You Out, but I believe that still remains his highest selling musical endeavor, partially because while he may insist we don't call that LP a comeback, it often gets viewed in that light since his third album, 1989's Walking with a Panther, was met with pretty lackluster reception from critics and fans. However, if there's one thing you can say about James, it's that he's pretty much never willing to take an L sitting down, which is why he was able to completely turn the situation on a dime and get both fans and critics back on his side, because he smartly took his trademark flashy, girl-crazy persona and wove it into the more grimy, bare-bones type of energy he initially cut his teeth on. And that all truly began with Radio, where Rick Rubin and Jazzy J masterfully put a group of instrumentals together, with tracks like Rock the Bells and I Need a Beat kind of helping to define what drum programming could be. There may not be an excess of winding samples, at least when compared to some of the albums that came a few years down the line, like Paul's Boutique or 3 Feet High and Rising, and they're definitely a bit more brief when they do show up. But what we do get treated to on this game-changing debut are plenty of the elements the culture was founded on, like scratching and turntablism, a focus on the downbeat and other b-boy tendencies that played a sizable role in showing the world how this was a genre all of its own and not just some offshoot or amalgamation of pre-existing forms of music. As I mentioned earlier, all of the production on this thing was handled by Jazzy J and Rick Rubin, who, along with Run DMC and close affiliates like the Beastie Boys, helped the world famous label Def Jam get a distribution deal through Columbia Records and further expand their empire. There's only one feature on this album, and it's by the now disgraced founder of Def Jam and brother of Rev Run, Russell Simmons, though on this thing he went by the alias Russell Rush, which now that I think about it is more likely than not the inspiration for the Rush Associated Labels division of Def Jam he would branch off with a few years down the line, as to assist with handling the numerous spin-off labels that they had birthed. Either way, it's about that time I named my honorable mentions on this classic, and I ultimately decided to leave out Rock the Bells and the I Need a Beat remix since I already mentioned them by name and there's really no moments worth losing on radio. Instead, I opted to go with You Can't Dance, Dear Yvette, Dangerous, You'll Rock, and I Want You. For my overall three favorites on here, I narrowed it all the way down to I Can't Live Without My Radio, I Can Give You More, and That's a Lie. Thank you for watching my 200th video. Next time, we're going to be starting off a new group of 2000s classics, and I saved a pretty top tier release to begin with, so check in for that episode, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite songs off this genre-shifting introduction are. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.
Look, the key to my soul is locked in the cage it opens. The framework was made from my own rib cue. What came first, the crack or the crack lighter? Whichever one the first fiend used to bring back